the Chris Canty Power Rankings.
So was Canty.
Today, we have the top 5 teams under the most pressure going into the NFL draft. So these are the teams that are under the microscope. These are the teams that absolutely have to get it right. No margin for error. Otherwise, people going to get fired. People going to be putting the for sale signs in the yard. People are going to be polishing up the resumes if they don't nail these drafts.
Okay.
So, without further ado, Javonte, actually, there is going to be a little bit of to do. I got to have an honorable mention with my power rankings. Okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not make my top 5 teams under the most pressure. Now, this is subject to change depending on what happens with the Aaron Rodgers of it all. You know, his free agency, they feel good about potentially signing him. I don't know how you can feel good about waiting on Aaron Rodgers to make up his mind if and when that happens. The Pittsburgh Steelers need to know something before the NFL draft. You got teams reporting for their offseason workouts already. So starting to get late early as far as the Aaron Rodgers of it all is concerned in Pittsburgh. But I digress. So Javonte, now, without further ado.
Number 5.
The Miami Dolphins. Over the past 3 drafts, the Dolphins have made only 15 selections. The league average during that span was 24 picks. And here's the crazy thing. The Dolphins only have one clear hit in terms of all of those 15 picks, and that was running back Devon Achane. The bleep them picks approach got him the Cheetah, Jalen Ramsey, and Brad Chubb, but has only resulted in a 28-23 record in Mike McDaniel's 3 seasons and an 0-2 mark in the postseason. The retirement of left tackle Teron Armstead and the free agent departure of safety Javon Holland only makes this offseason all the more challenging. Miami has 10 picks in this year's draft, although 7 of those picks are in day 3. General manager Chris Grier better find some gems. Otherwise, the Fins will be searching for a new head coach, general manager, and quarterback in 2026.
We were just talking about it in the break, how we don't talk about it enough, how long it's been since the Miami Dolphins have actually been good.
Yeah.
There have been these moments where we've had hope. You just mentioned some of the star power that they've brought in. We think that, they have this high-powered offense. If Tua is healthy, look at Mike McDaniel and what an interesting offensive coach he is. It has not materialized with any firm results. They've got to get this right.
I'm just going to say this. Mike McDaniel's had a quarterback his entire time when he's been in Miami, 28-23 record. Brian Flores, the 3 seasons prior to that, 24-25. Just go say that. Just go put it out there. Make of it what you will. Next.
Number 4.
The Cincinnati Bengals. They got $69 million a year invested in 2 wide receivers, and since he is trying to work out a new deal for the NFL sack leader in Trey Hendrickson, also factor in a quarterback making $55 million a year, and you get the picture. The team is running out of money, which means they have to hit on all 6 of their draft picks if they're going to improve the defense and have enough overall depth to contend for a title. Since he has tried to invest draft capital on the defensive side of the ball recently, using 5 premium picks in 2022 on that unit, 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, but they haven't seen the return on that investment. It'll be new defensive coordinator Al Golden's job to coach him up, but make no mistake, they need an influx of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Head coach Zach Taylor won't get another season missing the playoffs with a healthy Joe Burrow.
Yeah, if they would have listened to me, they would have had probably 10 picks. 2 picks for T. Higgins, 2 more for Trey Hendrickson, and then the percentages or the amount of guys you have to hit on, you have more chances at doing so. Because you're saying basically they need to be as close to 6 for 6.
They got to be perfect.
Right. Well, if I gave you 10 picks and you hit on 6, you still have the other 4 to figure out. Like they are not giving themselves the best chance at winning long term. I will continue to say that. That does not mean that T. Higgins is not awesome, and that does not mean that Trey Hendrickson is not awesome. It just means you can get 3 Chris Cantys for 1 Trey Hendrickson.
Maybe they look at winning long term or giving the best chance to do so with making sure they got a quarterback that doesn't want to shoot his way out of town.
Well, that is
Carson
probably
Palmer
right.
style.
That is probably right.
Joe Burrow advocating the way that he has for all 3 of those guys to get paid. A part of this is making sure that Joe Burrow stays happy and believes that the organization will do what it takes to keep a championship caliber team around him.
That's probably the way we should look at it. Moving forward, we should probably ignore the fact that what they could have gotten for Hendrickson and what they could have gotten for Higgins, and realize if they didn't bring everyone back, or at least the wide receivers, they wouldn't have a quarterback.
They have Browning. We know you love him.
Oh, my God. It's an investment in Joe Burrow's happiness, but that's why Joe Burrow is going to be in the crosshairs when it comes to any criticism that we have for the Cincinnati Bengals from this point forward.
That's right.
This is the team you wanted. This is the team you said you needed, the guys that you had to have in order to compete for a championship. If that doesn't happen, that's on you, bro. No more blaming the defense for why the team can't get into the playoffs.
That's right.
Next.
Number 3.
My New York Football Giants. It's a make-or-break year for general manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll. Winless in the division in 2024, the first time that's happened since 1973. Say that again. Winless in the division. First time that's happened for the Giants since 1973. The Giants have 8 draft picks, 5 in the top 105 overall, and can be aggressive. That should translate to a plan to take the best available with the 3rd overall pick and potentially trading up for a developmental quarterback prospect. The Giants need help up front, both sides of the ball, but they are desert thirsty for playmakers. The Giants were dead last in pass plays over 20 yards and passing touchdowns. They were 31st in interceptions. So they don't get any picks. They don't get a lot of passing touchdowns. They don't get a lot of explosive plays in the passing game. That is a problem. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, that will help. But ultimately, they got to get Malik Neighbors some help. He needs some neighbors on the offensive side of the ball.
So they need help on both sides of the ball up front. They're desert thirsty, as you said, for playmakers,
Yes.
and they need a quarterback. Is that all?
Well, since you put it like that.
Is that all?
That's about the size of it.
Okay, great.
That's about the size of it. Next.
Number 2.
The San Francisco 49ers. An absolutely brutal offseason where they gutted their roster and saw change with all 3 coordinators. 15 departed players signed contracts elsewhere totaling north of $340 million. The Niners are eating $86 million in dead money in 2025, 31% of their cap, to move on from players in order to clear the decks for a Brock Purdy extension. San Francisco needs a ton of help in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and this year's draft has a lot of depth in those areas. Armed with 6 picks in the first 4 rounds, the Niners better restock the cupboard if they plan on climbing out of the NFC West cellar anytime soon.
Still have not extended Brock Purdy. Still out there. We talked about how we thought this could be one of the most debated contracts ever. A lot of times the draft is the deadline. He's still unsigned. Canty's power rankings here. Top 5 teams under the most pressure in the NFL draft. Number 5, Dolphins. Number 4, Bengals. Number 3, Giants. Number 2, Niners, which leaves us.
Number 1.
The Cleveland Browns. Emmett Golden, Aaron Goldhammer, guys, you know what time it is. You know what it is. The face of the franchise for the Cleveland Browns is under contract for years to come. Only problem is, that's not the quarterback that counts $36 million against the cap this year, $80 million against the cap next year, and $50 million against the cap in 2027 when he's no longer on the roster. Cleveland has talent, but they don't have a quarterback. And currently, they're the betting favorite to land cornerback wide receiver Travis Hunter with the 2nd overall pick. Andrew Berry has been very clear. He wants Travis Hunter to play wide receiver. So the Cleveland Browns feel like they're a prime candidate for a quarterback in the latter part of the first round. They've got 5 picks in the first 104, which gives them enough ammo to make a move. The challenge will be getting their guy before someone beats him to the punch, because there are other teams at the top of this year's draft that are going to be looking to do the same thing. So that's the list. Teams under the most pressure going into the NFL draft: the Cleveland Browns, number 1. San Francisco 49ers, number 2. New York Giants, Cincinnati Bengals, Miami Dolphins. Smalls, you are my accountability partner. Any objections, any omissions?
Great list, Sissy. I love every team that you put on there. I was thinking you might add the Dallas Cowboys, just because they're in a division where the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl and they're not going anywhere. Jayden Daniels, as a rookie, took the Commanders to the Final Four. They're not going anywhere. And it feels like that crater between the teams at the top of the division and where the Dallas Cowboys are can only continue to get wider if they don't hit in the draft.
Yeah, I thought about putting the Dallas Cowboys on this list. Only problem with that is I couldn't find somebody to fire.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Fair.
they just hired Brian Schottenheimer. They're not firing the general manager. He owns the team. So who's going to be fired in Dallas? Maybe the quarterback, but I don't see. He's got a full no-trade clause.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of him.
He's not going anywhere.
So who are you going to fire in Dallas? If things go off the rails, who's getting fired?
So there's no bust in the boom or bust scenario.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a real possibility that there are people that can get fired with every single one of these teams that made my list.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's somebody in Dallas.
Who?
I think this head coach is set up for one and done.
Oh, my gosh. Already trying to fire the man.
No,
he ain't coached.
I said last week on our
Hot
show, I said, should we? I think there's two things that have to be acknowledged.
The seat is boiling
I
hot.
think there's two things that have to be acknowledged about Brian Schottenheimer. One, what if he's actually really good?
Yeah.
Right, which I have said.
Yeah.
And two, is what if he's just a placeholder?
So Brian Schottenheimer is the fall guy for Jerry Jones and these terribly negotiated contracts?
Yeah.
Are
the
you
four?
saying placeholder for Belichick?
No, I swear to God, I never even thought about him, which I'm sorry, Coach. I should always be thinking about you. I was thinking about the two that we always assumed he wanted. Deion Sanders and Jason Witten.
Oh, okay.
That's where my mind went on that. I'm just saying, it's the Cowboys. Can you really rule anything out? 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776.
There is something I can rule out. They're not going to get contracts done with their star players early in the offseason.
Well, that you can rule out.
You can rule that out.
All right, as we're
not going to happen.
A week and a half away from 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, the team right now with the most pressure going into the draft is which team? We will hear from you guys coming up at 888-SAY-ESPN.